Hi everyone, and welcome to another car review here on the Car Reviews podcast on CollectorCarCanada.CA. Today we're looking at a 2005 Ford Mustang GT. So this is the first year of what I will call the modern retro Mustang, the S197 body style, which followed up the SN95 body style, which finished, of course, in 2004. So this car came to rave reviews, critical acclaim. Everyone loved the retro look of it. And as you'll see in a minute, the front end was really harkens back to the 1969 Mustangs with the four big round lights across the front end. But this one, this one we're having as a Thrifty Thursday car. So what we do very occasionally, when we get a car that needs a bit of work, maybe you call it a handyman special, we try to be as detailed as we can in our listing about what the car is going to need. But yeah, we call it Thrifty Thursdays just so people know that the car might need a work till it's to their little bit of work until it's to their liking. As you'll see though from the driving videos of this car, the engine is powerful and wants to move. And you'll also see that the car starts easily. It's fairly low mileage for an 05, 113,000 and change. So it's going to go to its new owner with under 114,000 kilometers. And again, it's a Thrifty Thursday on CollectorCarCanada.CA. It's going to be lot 114. Pardon me, I'm off by only 100. It's going to be lot 214. Lot 214 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. So what I'll do now is I'll start it up. You can have a listen to it starting, and then what I'll do is I'll pop the hood, we'll have a look at the engine, listen to it idle, and we'll go back, listen to the exhaust, and then we'll take a look at the exterior. So without further ado, here we go with listening to the startup. So I think fair to say it starts pretty easily, idles easily, nice even idle. I don't think there's any trouble with the engine in this car, but let's take a look. Okay, so yeah, we've popped the hood from inside. Let's see if I can get it released with one hand here. Maybe I need a second hand for some help. And there's an old-fashioned prop rod on here, so pardon the picture for a moment. Okay, so the prop rod is in place. And there's a look at the 4.6 liter V8 engine. Just while I'm thinking of it, I'll show you this Mustang embossing on the hood insulation. But yeah, definitely the engine compartment needs a good clean. Nothing that a couple of hours of elbow grease won't cure, I don't think. But we'll take a listen to the idle, get up close to the belts. So that's a good listen to it idling. Shock towers also look pretty clean to me. So again, despite this being a Thrifty Thursday pick, not only does the engine seem to run really well and feel really powerful when we just took it on a road test where I was the passenger, the body also looks quite good. You'll see there isn't any upside in the paint, and we do have some underside shots on the detailed listing. Again, lot 214 on CollectorCarCanada.CA, so you can take a look at those there. So that's our look at the engine compartment. Put this hood back down. And let's take a little tour of the exterior. I mentioned the headlights earlier. I think they're worthy of turning on just to give you a look at that light show that harkens back, as I say, to the 69. So the headlights on the outside, of course, are your headlights, and there's a bright function on that like you'd expect. And the ones on the inside, built into the grille, are fog lights. So I'll turn the brights on just while we're at it here. And there's a show of good Ford engineering. When the brights came on, the fog lights came off, because if you need one, you definitely don't need the other. So I'll turn off those lights, and I think I'll shut the engine down too. I don't think we need it. I'm not sure if I shot the tach while I started it, but there we are. We see it running at about 750 RPM. Good healthy idle speed, I'd say. And I'll look at the tach, which is just as retro. If I get this driver door closed, I can show you the odometer. So there we go, reading 113,407 today. So again, this car is going to its new owner at under 114,000, under 114,000 kilometers. Shut her down. While I'm thinking of it, you can see there's a remote release fob with the keys, both for locks, trunk, and then an alarm controller as well. But let's get back to the exterior here. Someone left his hat behind. Always fun to find those. Sellers, if you're thinking of selling with us, we're happy to provide you a hat. So yeah, a nice light blue. Before we publish the listing, we'll look up the exact Ford name for this color, but I think it looks pretty sharp. I also noted a set of 4 Pirelli P0 Nero tires, so same 4 tires at all 4 corners. Square setup, same size all the way around. 235, 55, ZR17, and they're a W-rated tire. I also noticed when we were looking at the car in preparation for the video, all of the glass has this Ford car light emblem. So if it's not the original glass, it's certainly been replaced with Ford OEM spec. I suspect it might be original though. Pretty low mileage for an 05. There's a GT badge to signify that it's got the V8 under the hood. And as I look at the gaps look pretty good too. Despite this being a Thrifty Thursday car, we have a Carfax just to put your mind at ease, to add to peace of mind. So yeah, look for the Carfax as well on lot 214 here on CollectorCarCanada.CA. And the gas door, there's just a place where rust can sometimes hide, but I don't see any hiding with this car. So getting a look around. I did take a look later. Ford went to the sequentially illuminating tail lights for indicators. This car doesn't have those. So this is before the 05s, before Ford went to those. So another neat for GT embossing. We're not talking about a Ford GT here, but they left the Mustang out of this emblem. Third brake light. Factory spoiler, and the paint of course matches the paint on the rest of the body. Car's got dual exhaust. On our detailed listing, you can hear the engine idling and the exhaust in motion. Maybe that's not the right word, but you can hear the sound of the exhaust at idle. You also hear the exhaust in our driving videos. So as you'll see on the detailed listing, this car is located in Toronto. We're pretty close to downtown Toronto. So the seller was good enough to take me for a ride to show a driving video, but we couldn't get going too fast because we're in an area of all 30 zones, even though most people drive 65. But working our way around, these, I'll call them quarter windows on the rear sides, are pretty sharp looking. They do not operate up and down, however. But you can see the matching set of OEM wheels all the way around. And then conventional antenna, no power in that antenna. It stays fixed and in place, so it's pretty sturdy. Mirrors on both sides with black caps. And we're back around to the front to see that that front end that is a nice tribute to the 69 Mustangs, and a pretty neat Mustang emblem logo in the center of that grille. So yeah, no fog lights underneath, of course, because the fog lights are up here in the grille. But a pretty clean front clip as well. Now I think we've gotten a good look at that interior. Let's have a look at, or the exterior rather. Let's take a good look at the interior. Before I go though, I felt a little remiss in not letting you hear the pipes on this video as well. So I'm going to start it back up again, and we'll go to the rear, listen to those dual exhausts while the car is idling. that's a good little listen to them. As I say, you can hear the engine and exhaust under load with our driving videos. So one defect or fault to this car I noticed right away. This fabric from on the door card here has come unglued. I think it's just a matter of sitting in the hot summer heat we've had this summer. On this side, the owners stapled them back on. I think I'd be inclined to take those staples out and re-glue them with a good adhesive product. On the other side, I think it's more recent because nothing's been done to them. However, the piece is still here, a little re-gluing job, and it would be back to, I won't say original, but a lot more presentable than it is. Look at that, when I push it down, it does adhere a little bit, but it definitely needs the help of some glue. Don't need the engine running, so I'll shut that down. So here we are in the cockpit. A neat, I'd say that's a tribute steering wheel to the first generation Mustangs as well, with the 3 spokes and the big Mustang emblem in the center. And it's not quite as big in diameter as the, say, 65 Mustang, but probably larger in diameter than it needs, given that we have power steering. Of course, the older steering wheels are mostly large in diameter to ease with the muscle effort you need with a non-power steering setup. So we got your typical light setup. For the fogs, actually pull this towards you to operate those fogs, so no separate switch. That's just to control the lighting on the dash. 4 big vents up here on the dash. And despite this being a Thrifty Thursday offering, I tested the AC before we started, and it blows nice and cold, so no trouble there. Maybe I'll turn on the accessory lights. We get a better look at the instrumentation. So on the left, an 8,000 RPM tachometer with a 6,000 RPM red line, and to the right, a speedometer, which maxes out at 240 kilometers an hour. Kilometers an hour, the dominant measure, Canadian market car. In the center, we've got a fuel gauge, water temperature gauge, and a voltmeter, and oil pressure. Turn out that accessory light. And so center stack, there is a 12 volt outlet. I didn't see the cover for that, but it doesn't look that bad without, but it probably is missing a cover. Shaker sound in this car. You can see here CD6, so this is a 6-disc changer here, right here in the dash. And maybe I'll turn the accessories on. You can see the green display of the radio. So there's the time, and there's the display when you've got a station selected. And down below, HVAC controls. As I say, the air conditioning blows cold. Rear defrost down there on the bottom right as well. I'm not sure if I said this yet. 5-speed manual transmission in this car. So as they call it, a hand shaker for the transmission. You can see the emergency brake is set. Maybe I'll put it back in the gear. I had it set and in neutral for when I had the car idling. A couple of cup holders and a nice center console here with storage. I'm not going to open it right up because there's some personal effects in there. I'll say the same for the glove box. There are some personal items in there, so I won't open it up. Like you see on the driver's door, there's a big speaker here on the passenger door. Power locks and power windows. Here they are for the driver's side. So as well as a steep speaker down below, speaker up here as well. Of course, this is more a GT car. Maybe we'll call it a 2+2. So the back seat passengers, I won't call them an afterthought, but they're not the top priority. But even so, I've got that seat back as far as it'll go. Conveniently, the release for the seat is up here. You don't have to bend over to get at it. So the 2 seats in the rear, they're not fit for a king on a long road trip, but there's some space back there. Certainly enough for smaller statured people, and around town for adults it'd be okay. 2 belts only, so only a 4-passenger car. And we see here the controls for the power seat for the driver's side. Power on the driver's side only in this car, though. The passenger seat is manually operated. And we won't hide this. Maybe I guess we see the makings of some surface rust here on the seat controls, but that's from probably salt that people have tracked in on their shoes or boots. Car needs a good clean. There's no two ways about it. But just like I said about the engine compartment, a couple hours and some elbow grease and it'd clean up pretty nice, I think. You can see there 3 pedals signifying a manual transmission car. Didn't show the tilt wheel, but you can see the control for it down there. Power mirror control here as well. So that's a good look at the interior. I'll say the same for the trunk. There's lots of space in there, as well as a spare tire down below the floor of it, but there are personal items in there, so we're not going to take a look inside the trunk. Those interested though, please just have a look at our detailed listing, where we've got several photos of the trunk when it's empty, as well as the spare tire down below. So I'll take another little walk around it, and then we'll move to some concluding thoughts on this CR podcast. Lot 214 again, 214 on CollectorCarCanada.CA. So there's a good look at it. So yeah, there's a good look at our 2005 Ford Mustang GT. Again, the first year of what I'll call the modern retro look, when Ford went from the SN95 body style that ended in 2004 to the S197 body style pictured here, beginning like this car in 2005. Again, the power plant's a 4.6 liter V8, good for 305 horsepower, so quite a significant increase from the GTs in the SN95 generation. This car comes with a 5-speed transmission, manual transmission, that gets the power to the rear wheels only. So traditional layout for a domestic sports car, front engine, rear drive. This one's going to be CollectorCarCanada.CA lot 214. One thing I didn't mention is just a reminder that we also have the Collector Car Stories podcast, where we tell a story a week. We speak to a new enthusiast every week, talking about them, their cars, their car adventures, or a certain road trip or story they might have with their car. And if you think you might have a good story or car to show, please take a look at the website. You'll see a contact us page where you can tell us what you'd like to share in terms of a story, or just email us at admin@CollectorCarCanada.CA. So that's it for this 2005 Ford Mustang GT 5-speed manual, Collector Car Canada lot 214. CollectorCarCanada.CA lot 214 for the 2005 Ford Mustang GT with under 114,000 kilometers, 4.6 liter V8 engine, and 5-speed manual transmission, getting the power to the rear wheels. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye for now.